Hello, so I'm just gonna go over how I made this render. I learned a lot from this project, especially like about texturing, but also a little about modeling. I just want to start off, like, I'm not the best modeler. I don't have too much modeling experience. And I'm not using like an insane computer. And it's pretty decent. Just the Acer Nitro 5, like just a laptop, 4050, the i7. I got it with a pretty good deal. I got it cheaper than this, but yeah, I don't have any other monitors or anything. I'm using like this $6 Bluetooth mouse from Target. I mean, just like starting off with the model, it wasn't too difficult to do. It was just very like time consuming, and then we learned on the fly, just like understanding certain tools and how they work and things like that. But the very useful technique I learned was from YouTuber Aryan. He's like the GOAT. I'm sure like other people do this too, but it's just like a way for me to create faces without like, I guess, eyeballing it. Like you'd be like, oh, I think like this is right, and then do this and merge it, and then it's like, oh, you have a square, but it's really not a square. You can, I guess, like tell that it's not like a straight line. A way that like he does it is he puts like cursor to selected right there. Let's change this to not individual origins. What do I do? 3D cursor up. Extrude it out, right? I mean, it's clearly not a line, but you can just like scale it along the z-axis and put to 0, and like it automatically aligns it to this point right here, and then you have a perfect square like that. And like that kind of just applied to a lot of the parts of the model. This was originally like a mirrored part along the center, like right here, and then I had to create like this little dugout area here. And so like I kind of just cut it out, and I had just like this hole here, none of this like inside geometry, and none of these like faces existed. So I had to like make it myself. You know, I had a point here, put the cursor selected right there. I copied these edges here. Oops. Copy these edges here, and then like I just duplicated them over, and then scaled along the x and put to 0, and then it was automatically aligned with like this corner. And then I just selected all those, selected all here. And then I used face, and then grid fill, and that automatically created all these faces right here. So that was really useful. Another like really cool technique is like these ways of making bevels without making them look bad, I guess. It's a really good way, cool way to make bevels. That's why, I mean, if you look at this model, there's all these bevels here, 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 here. And it turns out really nicely. The way I used to do these is I would just like subdivide maybe by 3, and then make these bevels by clicking those, and then turning up your crease by like 0.9, stuff like that. And if you do along like the entire cube, you get like a beveled cube, but like it doesn't look really good. I guess it just directs the attention of where like the edges of the subdivision should go. And so because of that, it's not very like high quality. Like you can tell it's super sharp, and then you can easily like fix this just by like turning up like the sample or levels. It's like 6, but I don't think you want to have a surface that has 6 subdivisions. All of these had like at max 3. Most of them had 2. This one has 2 subdivisions, and it looks really good. The way he did it was, let's just get rid of these main crease here. Control B, subdivide, put the 2 cuts, and then shape to 0. And this is only 2 subdivisions, and we got like the same result with 6 subdivisions. 6 subdivisions, 0.99, 0.99. And it's even sharper than that too. And this one only has 3 subdivisions. I can't even bring it down to 2. Shade smooth, and it looks really good, especially compared to this one. And I think the reason is that is because like it gets these edges. And so like the way a subdivision works is it just subdivides the faces depending on the number of faces. So it actually creates a subdivision in this like tiny area. Like I bet if I apply this, yeah, so like it creates more subdivisions towards the edges because there's just more faces. Like if it creates 4 subdivisions, it creates 4 of them here, and it creates 4 of them inside this one. Whereas if you have a normal cube, it would only create 4 throughout the entire side. Yeah, so it's a neat way, except it does add more faces, but I mean, I think it's better than having 6 subdivisions. I guess something else, like going into this, I guess like where to start like the model. These are all just individual shapes that I put together. I mean, you could probably combine all these into a single one because they all pretty much have the same number of subdivisions. Like these all have like only 2 subdivisions. It's not a super highly detailed model too. I kind of just relied on the texture too. And starting off, like where to model. I think if some of these are kind of obvious. For this one, I just got a circle and then I put it down the middle and then just like nice circle. Maybe only like 16 faces. I don't think I even 16. Draw it down, rotate 90 degrees, bring it down to the middle, then kind of from there, aligned it like the shape, and then started it. This one I didn't start with like a cylinder at the bottom. I think this one I just got a vertex and then kind of traced it out. I think a lot of these, I don't think it really matters where you begin. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm also like starting to learn all this stuff and modeling techniques. Topology isn't like the greatest. Yeah, I mean, you can tell here that there's some really bad, like, I don't know what this is, just like face stretching and stuff like that. About N-gons though, I mean these, like this is the pentagon. It's just single face. These ones are fine, and the way I was able to, I guess, get them to like not have any N-gons, you should probably fix that, right? Like converting it to triangles or something, But distinguish, mesh, clean up, and then make planar faces, and that automatically converts it to a non-N-gon shape. So I guess this was an N-gon here. Because if I make a planar face, it corrects it. So I guess it wasn't an N-gon. But I mean, it still looks like pretty flat. I mean, I don't think it's super noticeable. I feel if you're making a video game, yeah, you should probably fix it where other people can be using the model. Yeah, I mean, there's also like a lot of iterations too that I had to go through. Like, yeah, it's a lot. But the main reason for that, I was kind of scared to also have 7 different iterations of this Blender file. I was scared to apply subdivision surface or the mirror modifiers, any modifiers I had, without making a copy of the model. So I'd always like make an iteration. And then like if I made a mistake, I could just like delete it and go back to the original, then create another iteration. Nothing really super bad happened with that though. I think that was pretty like, okay. Oh yeah, for this shape, I just used the shear. I selected all of these faces here, kind of like that, and then all these here too, and then use like the shear to kind of rotate it on a flat plane. I originally created it just completely vertically, there was no angle to it, and then I used the shear tool to, I guess, angle it, give it that nice depth. Some of these like smooth curves here, these like don't have bevels. You can't add a bevel like that and make it sharper, but I just didn't bevel those, and it gave like a nice smooth curve. I wasn't too worried about like being accurate with, I guess, the reference image here when like creating these points, making sure they line perfectly with it, because I knew that it would just be smoothed out and then shade smooth in the surface. So this just had my back right there. For like UVs, oh yeah, these UVs are super messed up. There's like definitely a lot of seams here. See like all the seams I used. UVs they're not super difficult to do, but I mean, getting good ones, yeah, might be difficult. I don't know what good UVs look like at all. I think these turned out pretty okay. There's nothing really, no like warped UVs at all. I didn't really care about UVs that you didn't see. The tool I used for creating these UVs is UV Packer. Just made sure all the UVs were like the same like size. Like you could tell that they're all like relatively the same size, relatively. I just used all the UVs and then packed it within Blender. Going into Substance Painter, I used a tutorial, very good tutorial, link it. It was also another gun that he showed. And this is the thing, this is like my first model in Substance Painter. The first time using Substance Painter. It works a lot like Photoshop, where you just have layers and then you can have masks that like show where these textures go. It's just a lot of like using smart materials, normal materials with smart masks. And then I think like I knew I wanted it to be like beat up, so I try to put some wear and tear into it. There's like scratches here. You can tell that they're just the same texture, but they have like this thing where you can jitter out the mask just to show little I guess randomness, like size jitter, fill jitter, angle jitter, all that kind of stuff. It kind of makes it a little bit look more real. Because like nothing's perfect, right? You're not gonna have perfect 90-degree scratches, perfect vertical scratches and things like that. So a lot of the details just are like normal maps baked in through the texture. Also like variants of roughness. Some of these aren't very rough, some are rougher than others. I just add like this circle scratch here, because there's usually a lever here that switches it. I don't know what it does. I put it in the model. I originally said, oh, like maybe like single shot the full auto, but it's not full auto. I don't know what it does. But you use your thumb to like click it back and forth, so I'm not sure where it goes. It shouldn't be on the other side, but you'll see that in the final render anyway. When you hold the grip, like the rubber wears out. So I painted it in like what would look like underneath. It's a little bit more, I guess, glossy, whether it be like oils or sweat that you have from your hand from gripping it. Because you're like fighting, you're in gunfights and all this kind of stuff, so you're sweating a lot. So I can definitely tell like what, like there be wear on the gun when you're holding it, shooting it and stuff. There's like a little part for your thumb to go, I think, when you hold it. Yes. I mean, I'm not sure why else this kind of nub is here. It's in the official model too. But I'm guessing you put your hands there to just, for whatever reason. So I added like reduce the roughness right there. Some here because you grip around, your fingers grip around. So some plastic wear there. You can see. Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely tell. That's just repeated texture, but it was okay. You can't really tell in the final look. Some up here too, yes. Yeah, but what really brought the whole model together was like this. I put on this single, like it's what's responsible for all of these little points here. Yes, these little just like specks in the metal. They're scattered throughout the entire model, whether it's the same material or not. You see them here. It's just like applying it to the entire thing. There's a trick that from the YouTube tutorial I used, the texturing. He just said like something that brings the entire model together is just like a single kind of like wear and tear that's throughout the entire thing, just like subtly. But I do think really it helped a lot, because I felt like this metal part and like this grip and this black metal here was kind of separated, and that kind of brought it together. But yeah, I think something that shouldn't be ignored is that when you apply I guess whatever smart material or regular material first, when you first apply it, like you should change like the tiling or the scale of it, because it's not going to be like relative or correct to your model. Yeah, but I think overall like it turned out like pretty okay. And that's it for the texturing. It's like, this is pretty cool. It wasn't that hard to do. I mean, once you get the hang of it, kind of understand how everything works. And then I think it's more like a conceptual thing rather than a technical thing. Texturing is very easy. The hard part is the conceptual parts. It's a very simple environment. You can see this is in the ground, but I did that for depth of field. I just wanted some depth, so I put like this bandage right there. I think it turned out like really nicely. Like I really like the grip too. I thought that it's my favorite part, as well as like the grip. Just like I think like the level of detail that's in it. Like I think it really shows how much detail is like in this model, and a lot of the details just through the texture. It's not even through the model itself. It's not super high quality. The whole scene's like really easy too. I got this free like scratched aluminum PBR from like online, and then from there like I just Control-Shift-T, Node Wrangler, and then put it all together just like that, really easy. It's just a video I downloaded from online. It's when you boot up Cyberpunk, that's like the video that it plays. It's like this guy on the news. It's like, welcome to Night City. Just played that. It's definitely like wrong frame rate. Like, it's very slow motion. You can't really tell because like the depth of field makes it such. It doesn't even show it because the depth of field is so low. But like I think it turned out like pretty good. I really like it a lot. It's just like the lighting and everything. And it took about I think 2.5 hours to render. I just did PNGs, 500 samples, 0.01 noise threshold, nothing super crazy or fancy. It was about like a minute to 50 seconds per frame. Pretty nice. I did this in like 3 days. I think that's pretty much everything about this project or model. I don't know. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Texturing was a huge part of it. I wanted to learn texturing. I just like understand like the basics of it, but I think just through basics it made like this model look really, really nice. And that's what I really like about texturing. Something is very conceptual too, rather than technical. It's just like why it makes something look good and realistic. I think some things like I could have improved on or just worked on. Maybe it was like removing these scratches right here should not be there at all. Just because like there's nothing to scratch right there. Like, I don't think this thing moves. So that it should definitely be like cleaner in this area. Which I think there should be more dirt building up in these crevices. But I kind of just want to get this out as quick as I can, just because I wanted to. I was really excited with this project. I didn't really pay attention to like adding like a hole into any part of this model at all. So like the pieces just clip into each other, but you can't really tell that. Yeah, I don't know. They kind of also like there's also baked in like ambient occlusion and shadows. So I guess also kind of helps. It kind of seems like they're not clipping into each other just because of that. Yeah, then I just brought this into DaVinci Resolve, color graded it, added some grain. It's just overall, I think it's really nice. But yeah, I think that's everything. So, do you have any comments, things I should improve on, questions that you have, things that I should go more in depth on, I guess. A lot of the stuff in here is like just things you can, I guess, find on YouTube, like a simple not like a breakdown, but check out like Aryan's video of like gun modeling. I think like the best way you should learn is just by trying it out yourself. Like create multiple iterations of a single thing and say if that doesn't work, then try something else. Or try something else until you find something that does work. And then you know from that one, like if you encounter a shape that's similar or any future kind of thing, you say, oh, you know why you should have things in certain areas and why not, and things like that. Why you should start in that certain area because of passive experience. So because like this. Because I know that I have to make this now, that I should consider that later on and things like that. Yeah, so let me know if you have questions, give advice too, please. Happy modeling.